one Zoom call?
Because I couldn't drive to you. Yeah, they're still going. Oh my gosh. I sit on this board, and so it was kind of like our strategic stuff. Looking for a new CEO. Oh my God.
That is a long time.
Department head meeting this morning, so.
She just been meetings all day.
Sitting in my office on Zoom.
It's not like that because then you get nothing else done.
Because I go, yeah, I need to be, we had to be on camera, so we can't be doing this. And you know, I needed to be. I've been on this board 30 years, so.
Oh, wow.
It's my
Yeah.
life's work.
I've been cleaning all day because our office is getting a visit tomorrow from Andrea something from Katie Hobbs or Katie, the representative for them. And I told the girls, like, this place needs to get cleaned so that they have their dress down. And we're cleaning all day. I don't think they realized how serious I was until I got there and I was like, we got a new mop. Nora came and I was like, this is not good. We got a new mop, we got a new mop bucket. Like, we're cleaning house.
I was gonna say, they're matching all of a sudden.
Yeah, finally. That took forever.
I know. The kids are kind of looking
we're
at me
hoping
like,
in
because
December.
we're the janitor,
That
you
took,
know, when it gets clean, it's us. And then I
long
think that they
to
thought, like,
state.
well, Erica's just gonna go sit down. No, I was in
That's
there
good. At least it's
in the toilet bowl too.
Just had CMS visit.
I'm like, we
did
all
their
use this
inspection
home,
today,
and that's what it is. We're here
Good with that.
nice.
hours a week.
Yeah, waiting on the seat was not a fun time.
Remind me to talk to
Typically,
you
we don't
about
do, we never
the
know
theme
what
you want to
that
do
Okay,
Oh,
volumes
okay.
for that,
Okay.
10 each day, so.
about it today.
That.
We'll do a visit with you after the meeting. Just for a minute.
Open like that on the weekends around here.
Want to steal from Ray's?
Yeah, he doesn't need it. I do. Really?
I know, me either, but every time I sit here, I never eat candy. I feel like unless I'm here.
I don't either. I have none of it.
So important.
This is Christmas candy. You guys, this is Christmas candy. This is months old.
I buy it in bulk when it's on sale.
I'm like, why does it say Santa?
2022.
20.
All right, we're gonna call this regular meeting of the Town of Parker Council. Please silence or mute electronic devices. And roll call the council.
Mayor Hartless.
Here.
Vice Mayor Waddell.
Here.
Councilmember Shantz.
Here.
Councilmember Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember De Leon. Absent. Councilmember Grenwalt.
Here.
Councilmember Jenk.
Present.
All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bree McCray, thank you.
Will you pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day that you have made. Lord, I just pray for the council members as they go about making decisions, that you would just give them wisdom and guidance, that you would help them consider all the options that are in front of them. And Lord, I just pray that the decisions they make would be for the good of the town and the county. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Bree. Okay, call to the public. We have two items. Our first one is Marco Rivas.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marco Rivas. I'm your local T-Mobile representative. Not so local. I live in Glendale, Arizona, but I'm here, out and about. Just wanted to give you all some information about T-Mobile. We're not just another wireless vendor that's here to try to sell you things. Truly want to be a partner with Town of Parker and also with La Paz County. A couple of things that I want to share with you. Hometown grants. It's a $50,000 grant through the T-Mobile Foundation. Any town or city that's 50,000 population or less, which you all happen to fall under, you can apply for this. And, you can use it for anything. And it doesn't have to be technology. We've had some winners who have revamped some parks. Wickenburg won it a couple of years ago, and they did an extension to their library. So please, reach out to me. I'll leave some contact information for y'all, and let's talk about getting you some funds so that we can do some cool stuff. The other thing is, it's called Project 10 Million. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. T-Mobile launched it about a year before COVID hit, which was perfect timing. It's free internet service for K-12 students who are underserved. So anybody that gets free lunch or might be on SNAP, there's a list of different programs they might be under. They'll get a free hotspot from us and free service from us. They'll get 100 gigs of service per year. 1,000 gigs of service per year. It's not a ton if you're watching Netflix, of course. But if you're doing school, more than enough. And we also realize that, hey, that might not be enough. So we have some really, really cost-effective plans. $15 for unlimited internet for the kids. So please take advantage of that as well. And last but not least, I want to talk about T-Priority. It's our network slice for public safety. So our commercial traffic will never touch what public safety's doing. And we just launched it. We just announced that New York City just entrusted 40,000 plus first responders to be on T-Priority. And every other department in New York City is going to be on T-Mobile as well. So like I said, I'm not here to sell you a bunch of phones and a bunch of tablets. I really want to sit down. I want to know, where do we have some gaps with coverage? Let's work together so we can fill them up. And I almost forgot, Starlink. I'm sure you all have heard of that, right? We are the only carrier in the US. We have an exclusivity with Starlink where your phones, for right now it's a beta, if you have no service, up to the sky, text message, eventually calls, eventually data. And we're the exclusive partners with Starlink. So I appreciate your time, and hopefully I can leave this behind. Awesome, thank you.
You have cards, Marco? Okay, as I say, you might want to give one to John right there. Okay. All right. Our next one is Chief John Chamberlain from Buckskin Parker Fire.
Good evening, everyone. So not to be outdone, but I actually asked Marco to come here tonight to talk to you guys about that. Specifically, I wanted to give you a quick update, not like a more formal staff report, but when I first started, I recognized the lack of technology in the area. One of the things that I believe in is regionalization. We're much better together than we are as an individual entity. I was able to apply for Arizona Department of Administration and secure just over a $750,000 grant for technology for La Paz County. All of your fire apparatus for Baus, Parker, Buckskin, and Ehrenberg are going to be equipped with not only new MDCs, but also for Starlink, and those will be going live within the next 6 months. It's a 3-year no-cost grant. So basically, at the end of 3 years, we'll have to see exactly what's going on. Really what it's about is firefighter accountability, command and control, and it's firefighter safety. That was the intent of the grant. But what we're recognizing is through a partnership with T-Mobile, PTT devices, who remembers Nextel, where you do the bloop, bloop? That's literally what the technology is that we're going back to. So we can actually see our fire suppression staff on various levels of elevation, in structures, anything along those lines. So if one goes down, we know exactly where to go look and what's going on. And in addition to that, as we're resource depleted coming in and we have people on recall, we can actually see who is coming and what their ETA is, so we can actually formulate a cognitive plan and actually execute that type of staffing. But I have some concerns. I talked to Marco about it. They've already got a couple of sites that are up and running. Cienega Springs was, if you haven't seen the boom up there working on things, that should be going live next month. Yes, sir. And then it was a Monkey Mountain. I kind of laugh at that, but Monkey Mountain on the north side, out by Havasu Springs, they have a tower that's already in place there. That's already not only identified but funded, and we're trying to get it bumped up in the priority listing. So the whole entire Parker Strip River corridor will have the coverage moving forward. Originally, we were looking at FirstNet as the option, but I do believe that T-Mobile is probably going to be our carrier. If you guys haven't used their pipeline here in town, it is lightning fast. And not to beat his drum, but my understanding is talking to Baus School District, they actually are utilizing that as their primary platform for their tech stuff. So they are putting a lot of money and infrastructure into it. So if you guys are looking for something along those lines, I just want to encourage you to do that. And I'll have more forthcoming as we start purchasing equipment. We'll have a dog and pony and we'll show it off for you. So thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right. Our next item is Erica Daniels, Parker Regional Chamber of Commerce Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to invite you guys personally this Thursday, March 19th. We have our chamber mixer at the Black Hat Bar and Saloon at the La Paz County Fairgrounds. It starts at 5:30, and we are going to have a boot contest, so make sure and wear your boots. And then I heard from a little birdie that we may see one of our council members out there line dancing. So you guys should definitely come. And one of our raffle prizes was actually donated by the town of Parker, so thank you guys for that. This Saturday morning, the Eagles are hosting their 3rd annual Diabetes Research Center Walk. Registration starts at 7 a.m. and the walk begins at 8. Also on Saturday, Child and Family Resources will be out in Wyndon, Arizona for a parachute play with the kids, and that event starts at 10 a.m. at Centennial Park. Looking ahead at the last weekend of March, the Chamber will be in Phoenix at the Ben Avery Shooting Facility for the Arizona Game and Fish Department Outdoor Expo. I've heard great things about this expo, and it's a great chance to promote La Paz County and the town of Parker. And then right here in Parker on that same weekend, they will be hosting the military vehicle display at the swap meet at La Paz County Park. That's the lineup until the end of March, and I can't wait to get with T-Mobile so they can be a member of the chamber. Thank you, guys. Did you have a question? No.
Hey, Erica. Okay, our next item is consent agenda. The only one item, the Town of Parker meeting minutes from March 4th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Consent agenda, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action one, item one is discussion action to approve, deny the contract with Network Systems and Solutions for Information Technology Services. Nora?
Good evening. So we're here to ask for your approval for the contract with Network Systems and Solutions. They are the IT service that we are providing service for us right now. On February 4th, you authorized myself and the staff to advertise for a request for proposal for information technology services. All the notices and documents were posted for the public in accordance with ARS statutes. On March 6th, the bid period closed and with only one proposal. By the clerk's office services, it happened to be Network System Solutions that the proposal was from. The services will include managing approximately 53 user accounts, help desk support, software, hardware, troubleshooting on-site and off-site remotely, unlimited remote on-site support during business hours. They've just been system infrastructure, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week monitoring of the server management, data, and protection, all the firewalls, the Wi-Fi remote access, cybersecurity, software. These guys have they do it all. They're great. We've had, since they've come on board, they have just been excellent service. We call, things get done right away. It's been really great. The fiscal impact of this, the first month cost $2,000 onboarding, $8,639 for service agreement with all the backups, for a total of $10,639. The following months after that will be an estimate of about $8,639, which is about what we were paying prior to this, with all the extra fees that we ended up paying with our other service. I believe we're getting a much better service. We're right now than we were in the past. be open to any kind of questions that you may have.
And Daniel online is,
Yes.
okay.
And we also have, and I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Gabe? Gabe as well, if there are further questions.
I was wondering who he was. Yeah, I know. Well, I would like to say thanks to Dusty for, I think Dusty's the one that opened this door, so it's, I think there was a lot of concern there for a while about what we're gonna do, so it's appreciated, and it sounds like everybody's pretty happy.
Yes.
So what would not be covered under this contract, or what would be any additional costs or anything?
Should they have to, so there, anything outside of the normal work day or week, that would be an extra cost. If I was working on Saturday, things went down, they had to come out, that would be an extra charge. If they had to come out in the middle of the night, that would be an extra charge. Any kind of big project that we might have that doesn't fall within this scope would be an extra cost. But for the most part, everything's fit right into that.
So do we have any, like, I guess, local servers or anything like that, where we would anticipate, like, large server changes, or?
We do have
Kinda
one,
configure.
we do have one server here in this building, and I believe we have one at PD and then one in the court. I'm not quite sure. One of those might go down, but most of our stuff is done Google, so it's on, in the cloud.
Cloud-based.
Yeah. The only thing that's really not in the cloud base that's like heart-stopping is our finance program, and that we are looking at moving to the cloud. That was one of their suggestions as well. So they,
You actually have 4 servers
I knew there was one.
at Town Hall, and then you have 2 servers at PD, which one of them can be eliminated because I think the other one is a replacement, and the old one was never taken out.
So with, I guess, this particular contract, I'm assuming that it's going to be them in charge of our security and our, cybersecurity is
Yes.
with that. I'm guessing that they're going to give us priority lists of help us plan for future capital expenses and replacement of different items and whatnot.
They will.
And is this a one-year agreement or just an open-ended agreement?
This is a one-year agreement with renewals.
I mean, we'd look at it next year and see how it went,
I personally feel it's something we probably should have done a decade ago. And we're fortunate that they were able to come in and kind of
I absolutely
get a
agree.
hold of the situation, or that it didn't end up, that we weren't left in a worse situation. So I know I'm good with it. And plus, I mean, considering the cost of a salary, if we were to hire an IT, we'd have to equip that IT person. We'd have to provide them an office, a vehicle, tools, everything. You're going to be significantly over that cost.
Right?
I guess with the extra expenses, how much, I guess, outside of this contract type work would you be expecting for any, like, those additional costs with that?
Really not much, to be honest, unless something, huge happens. We do have one project that's coming up, and that's the cameras at the Western Park. We've applied for a grant for that, so hopefully some of that will be covered, and then Steve has a couple.
The former IT person, we purchased cameras for the animal shelter as well, and cameras for the community center. We identified locations in which we have some camera coverage. Certainly things that have happened at both locations. Actually sitting in the office right there. We're just waiting to have services provided, and they come out of this spending freeze, and hopefully we can have this.
Just With, since I guess we're going to be looking at, again, in a year period with that, just, I'm assuming that there's a way to have like all these separate additional expenses like lined out in a GL or something where we can look at the total cumulative cost from our IT expense as a whole. With that. So,
Yeah, I would want to see that after a year. How much outside of the contract did we have to do? Yeah. So we might, if it's something that happens frequently, it would be something we want to roll into the contract.
Yeah, or reassess somehow with that.
All right. I would entertain a motion if there's no more discussion.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Item 2 is discussion and action to approve, deny the Town of Parker media policy, social media policy, and brand style guide. Nora?
So this is the social media policy that we presented at our last council meeting. There was a couple of changes, red lines that Christina did for us, but basically it was a good policy.
I
When it was
looked
the
at everything
engagement.
Earlier in the week, I didn't see anything that
I was
kinda
hoping you-
understand why they redlined what they did.
I was hoping you did, because I didn't get a chance, and I know you were on top of this stuff previously, so.
My thoughts were just that what was redlined was a little bit of the guidelines potentially that staff may have been looking for, some of like the engagement guidelines, but from a legal standpoint and being in the policy, that might not be something that's important to be in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of the red lines were like the concerns we were talking about last time.
Yeah, could be misconstrued or.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Okay.
But I felt comfortable with everything else in there as well. I've read through it.
Well, I got to go with that, so.
I make a motion to approve our social media policy.
Second?
Social media policy, and brand style guide is the
And,
three
okay,
items,
okay.
just for clarification. All right,
I don't think anything else really had any revisions, just the.
Let me say it again.
no, as
Okay.
long as we're clear on that.
Okay.
All right, it's been moved and it was seconded, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3, discussion action to approve, deny amendment to the WACOG 2025 initial contract for nutrition services. Nora?
So, we had a site visit from WACOG on,
A couple weeks ago.
yeah, March 6th, I believe it was. It was in, at that time, Lisa came up from Yuma, and she's our person. She brought to our attention that the town was out of compliance with our home delivered meals, along with some reporting and some repayments. We're in the process of getting the reports and the payments and all of that completed and turned in. But looking at the home delivery portion of our contract, because it's a separate contract, the home delivery portion is, and the congregate meals. We serve, or the center serves, about 110 home delivered meals to clients throughout the county. About 10 of those clients live within the 1 square mile of Parker. We discussed a lot of different things that could get us back into compliance with that. And one of the things that Lisa had come up with was that the town maybe takes a hiatus from doing home delivered for a year up to 2026. What that would look like would be, my concern was the town of Parker. So what we kind of came up with was that WACOG would allow us to carve out of that home-delivered clients, the town of Parker, and we could serve those clients a hot meal every day. And the town, and the center used to do that. It's a 5-day-a-week. We give them those 5 meals, and if they qualify for 7, then we take them to packaged meals for the weekend. The clients outside of Parker would receive what they call Mom's Meals. It's a nationwide program. There are frozen meals that get delivered to the client's door via UPS or FedEx, depending. However, the clients can choose which meals they want. There's a whole list of different meals. WACOG, the other portion of our program is that personal connection, so that somebody's checking on them frequently and they get some kind of communication. WACOG is willing to pick that up and visit those clients more often than they do now. Now they go maybe once a month, and they depend on our home delivered driver to have that other kind of contact once a week. So they would step that, WACOG's willing to step that up. I just think this is a really good program right now for us. It would save us money as far as costs and stuff. It does cost us quite a bit of money to serve the whole county with these home-delivered meals. We can, and I think our clients are going to get a little bit better service with these meals right now. We wouldn't start this for a few weeks out due to having to, get the paperwork for clients and do some advocate work to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody gets served the appropriate thing. We can take another look at this in 6 months. If it looks like it's not working and we need to go back to the home delivered, us doing it, we can do that. Or if we think, yeah, this is working well, then we can continue on with that and up to the 2026. And then we would really need to look at, that's when our contract would renew, normally, typically.
Now, do we have I know with a lot of our seniors, wellness check is kind of part of
That,
and
but
do we
what-
have an element in there? I mean, the mail-in ones, the mom's meals?
No, WACOG will pick that up.
WACOG will pick
WACOG will pick that up, but we don't have to,
Yeah.
but even then, I was
That was
just
one of the
kinda
big
worried.
concerns about
Yeah.
this
Right.
is they drop a box and that's it.
Yeah, I just
Right,
so
thought that
WACOG
would be just,
yeah.
I just want to finish my point.
Go ahead.
And is that, I feel that we would lose that for the people that were always reliant, not necessarily reliant on it. They are reliant.
Well, they are.
But that connection, we could even just pop in and just, oh yeah, they're doing good. And that little emotional connection, I just feel that the people that do support the center and have taken advantage of it in the past are going to lose that.
So typically, our driver will only spend, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe with the client as they're dropping the food off, which is really important to that client. You can assess a lot in that short of time. WACOG is offered to pick that up where they go out way more often. The other thing that our people usually do is they give a phone call a couple of times a week to each one of those homebound clients, and we would still continue that service.
Good, okay. I just wouldn't want to see that. like,
No, you're
where
right.
You're out of sight, out of mind now. I didn't want that to happen.
Those are things that are important to WACOG, and they're important to our seniors.
Okay.
And it's really their prerogative to be doing that anyway. I mean, we serve the entire county, and we don't get help from the county.
Nope.
We get help, obviously, from WACOG and other sources, but I presented this idea to the senior committee, and their first concern was about the contact thing. the mom's meal side of it, the people in the room, and there were people like my wife who was very experienced with these things. Oh, mom's meal is fantastic. And I would encourage you guys to go online and look at mom's meals.
Be my question, what's the quality of the food?
It
there?
looks really good.
Nailed.
I gotta tell you, and there's a huge selection. I mean, you can pick special diets, pureed food and all that stuff. So one of the other concerns from the senior committee was, well, not everybody has internet. They can go online and choose these things. So that would be one of WACOG's assignments, is when they go out and visit them, go, look, this is the new thing we're doing. This is what you have a choice of, here's a menu. Tell us what you want and we'll go online and pick it for you. They won't obviously have the weekly, probably, selection process. But once they get squared away and find the meals they like, by all accounts, the meals are fantastic. And it's nothing against our meals that we serve.
Good.
But it's high quality stuff, it really is. And it takes it off our hands. There's no expense to us. WACOG picks up the cost. I mean, it's
Right.
great, a really good deal, I think. And I like the idea of, one of my concerns too was, what happens to all our vehicles that we have got going for the Meals on Wheels? Well, they'll stay with us during this 6-month period when we look at everything. And I think 6 months is great. We're not talking about a year.
Yep.
In 6 months, we can revisit it and go, how's it working? And really get out there and find out how it's working on the ground, not just, how is it working for the senior, for the community center, but how's it working for the people out there? So I love this idea. I think it's gonna be a good, different kind of thing, I hope.
Is Blue Water Lagoon in our service area?
It's not in the town of Parker, but in talking with Lisa, we can put that within our,
So it'd be the town of Parker, Blue Water Lagoon, and
that's it.
Okay.
What's the total number served? So we only have 10 in the town of Parker right now.
About
but-
110,
We're about 110, it fluctuates in there, but
so we're around 10%.
Sorry, go ahead.
So has there been discussions, I know, just at the workshop, we were talking with the town of Quartzsite or the county to try to help supplement those costs with that?
so we have talked to the county, or I have talked to the county, and kind of their answer to this, they don't have the cash funds to be helping with this right now. Obviously, we're in the middle of, our budget already, and they'll be looking at their budget next year. They did find a grant that might help, but again, we've got to apply for that grant. We've got to, be awarded that grant. So it's still in the talks. I mean, they are starting their budget right now for next year.
I mean, our current contract, what, goes through June or so?
Through,
So,
correct, through the 30th of June.
We're gonna know quick.
yeah, I would be more in favor of continuing this program for additional 90 days after that point to try to allow them to get past the current contract that we're on, to try to get through their budget season, to try to have them work into that budget so that we can see if we can get more of that funding through them. Just leaving, areas with that, I do have that concerns, just not changing up so drastically than what it has been done. I do know that, do understand that we've only been servicing, ourselves, and our focus is less than 10% of that, but we have been doing it for how many years?
30.
Long time, yeah.
Long time,
20, it looks
where
like.
it's definitely unfair where we have that responsibility that we're taking care of the county. We should be asking for that funding of the county, but I think still give them that appropriate time to allow to do that, to help something that we have been doing for that extended period. And similarly with the town of Quartzsite, because Quartzsite's probably 40% or so, would you say?
Oh, I don't
Of the
know.
service area?
Gosh, I didn't hear numbers on the breakdown.
Seasonal, it's hard.
Yeah, that's true, it's probably seasonal. But to your point, I think if I heard you right, because right now to me is an ideal time, because we have about 90 days until the end of the budget year, and then it'll go another 90 days past that, the 6-month trial. So that would give the county ample opportunity to say, we're on board, we're gonna put it in our budget next year. We would know in the middle of this thing whether or not, is that kind of where?
Yeah, so overall, that's where I would want to see it continued, and if not, we can also be, pushing out on, different various ways that the counties decline to do this, and that's why we're stopping this program is because we're not getting the funding from the county, we're not getting funding from Town of Quartzsite to be able to help continue programs like this. Because without that, I could see something
Yeah,
that
and
we've
I
been
could
having for 30 years and just.
do the devil's advocate and say, Quartzsite has 2 food banks and a senior center.
Yeah.
They might go, hey, we're taking care of our people. And then, the other side, the county could say, look, WACOG is picking up the cost, and we're all part of WACOG, so why should we
Likely
kick
what
in,
They're not picking up the cost though, because obviously we've
Yeah.
been operating at a deficit.
Yeah.
So, if that's their decisions to go with that, I think that's fine, but making that decision prior to giving them the opportunity is where I have that issue, especially since we have been doing this for so long.
What, I'm just kind of curious about the operation of things, and you might not be able to answer this, but what was the odds of somebody missing a meal, like a delivery not being made that day or whatever to a house? Like the driver missed that one.
From, while we're doing the deliveries,
Right. Or if they did, they could probably just call them up and they'd
then they would
turn
have
around
to
and, right.
go back, yeah, correct.
Oh, I mean,
But-
we all know how the
Well-
postal services in this area, so, I mean, the consistency and reliability of them getting their meals might not be the same. Like, let's say they expected their meal at this time of the day, every day, and they get used to that. There's no telling what time FedEx or UPS or the.
Well,
post
they
office
wouldn't
is
get
gonna show
them, it wouldn't be an everyday, and we don't
You get a
do,
weekly
Just a weekly
delivery.
delivery.
we don't do a everyday either at this point.
Gotcha.
Not even in the town. We do a weekly delivery. We used to do in-town daily, but we do a weekly frozen meal.
Yeah,
But
that
we would go
eliminates
back
some
to
of that.
the daily hot meal in town.
Yes, that is correct.
In town.
Which I personally love. And I'll say personally because my grandfather's been on this for quite some time. So he's gotten the frozen meals that are delivered that he likes, but he has to put in the microwave for 10 seconds or whatever the rules read. He's very stands by those rules. But I kind of ran this by him when I heard about this, and he loved it. He was like, the hot meals? And I was like, yeah. He's like, so I don't got to put it in the microwave? It's going to come ready? I'm like, yes. He's like, I can't wait. When? Tomorrow? So I know he was really excited about that. He did talk about the drivers, how they were personable. And he even said that, like, as he got to know them, if he happened to be in the back, the driver would kind of do a little knock, let him know who it was, and then leave his right by the door so that he could pick it up if he wasn't in the front. Because it would take him 10 minutes to get from one side of the house to the other. So on that aspect, I'm in favor of this.
So Nora, what was the non-compliance that we fell under? Like,
So the meals weren't getting rotated the way they were supposed to, and they, typically how it works is when they do the meals for the congregate, they make enough to package for the home delivered as well, and then at the end of the service, they package those up, put them in the freezer, and then they get rotated out. It was, and where this got dropped, we kind of went back to like almost 2023 maybe, was where they were not quite doing that. They were actually making separate meals for home delivery, which is not what WACOG, it's not one of the rules that WACOG wants us to follow. If you serve it in the, now the only time you would do that would be if you serve salad or something that couldn't be frozen for a congregate meal. So that was kind of where we got off target a little bit.
Well, and that wasn't the only thing, but, the other thing is, this program, we get reimbursed from WACOG every month. Theoretically, it's $90,000 a year, it's $7,500 a month. That reimbursement hasn't been submitted for over a year. So guess who picked up that 90,000 last year?
Since August, but,
The town, since August, okay.
but
So,
the other, I mean, we split that. I mean, WACOG gives us that money, but we have to pay, it's a 50-50 grant. So we have to match those funds that come out of our general fund every.
It's not 50-50 anymore. More like.
Oh, that's right, because that's correct. Thank you for that, because this last budget, they gave us a number and then it came back that we didn't get as much money from them as we anticipated. We still had the clients, the same amount of clients, but we didn't get the funding that we thought we were gonna get. So it is costing us more this time around than,
So it's 60/40 with us taking the 60.
yes. Typically, it's 50/50, but this year
I think there was also some COVID-type money, URSA or whatever, CURSA money, that was, everybody should have understood that it was like a limited funding source, and it was gonna run out at some point. But the word on the street was, we got cut. Well, not really. We lost that funding source, which we knew we were gonna lose, so, things should have been adjusted accordingly, I guess, is a fun way to say it. Oh.
And each mill, did I get this? It's like $9 a mill? Is that what the average is?
that is what, yes.
For the mom's meal or for the
No, for the
home delivery?
For home
delivery.
delivered.
Yeah, I mean, it really just takes us out of the equation. And again, my only concern is the food, and by all accounts, the food's very good. So it sounds like everything else will be, hopefully fill in the gaps, The senior committee's big thing was about the actual contact with people, because some of those people are pretty isolated. They don't see anybody, except the meal delivery drivers. So that's a concern, but WACOG's willing to pick up that. That's great.
Is that once a week that they're gonna be going out, similar to the drivers?
I'm not sure what that'll look like, and in speaking with WACOG, Lisa, the other day, she just,
Logistics will definitely change.
Yeah, that would be
and that's where
100 visits a week. That sounds like a lot, so.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so that's where I anticipate it being less, so it's definitely gonna be less contact. And again, just in my perspective, it just being good partners with the other local governmental agencies, I think that's where I just want to give them that chance to see if they want to continue how it is.
Sure.
Obviously, we cannot continue running it at the deficit that we have been, but with making this decision, without giving them a chance is just where I have that issue.
in that 100 people, there may be a percentage that don't need a check, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure it's not 100% of the people that are gonna require a weekly checkup. So in that sense, it might be logistically a little bit easier for WACOG to pick it up.
For them to qualify, though, I mean, for them to qualify
Yeah.
for homebound meals, you would think that they're the type of people who probably do need the checks, or, the most at risk within our county.
But with that being said, if they qualify for that, then they should also be qualifying for WACOG's caseworker, which I know we just got a new one in La Paz County who travels often. So I'm guessing that those caseworkers are actually loads might get a bit heavier as well.
They will.
And I'll tell you, caseworkers and social workers within this area is very challenging.
Yep. To say the least.
There's also the consideration, I mean, I'm just assuming that this is not like food loaded with preservatives, and we're not gonna be taking hot, or at least fresh food and substituting it for packaged, preserved food.
I think, again, check the website.
Yeah, I'll have to
They
look
talk about it, how healthy they are, and they look great. I love the fact that you can choose. I mean, it's pretty cool, actually.
WACOG has a nutrition guideline that has to be followed, which
I do
we
want
weren't
to
exactly meeting that, but
reemphasize your point. The individuals who are probably homebound are probably not the most internet savvy individuals with that, and especially in the remote areas. So if it depends on that, that's also very much hopeful that WACOG can hold up their end with that, with the home check-ins during that time period to help submit that every single time. And it's just, again, all those particular concerns. that go on with their misdemeanors.
And this was WACOG's idea. They're
Yes, it
the ones
was.
that brought it and said, hey, we
Yes.
have an idea, let's try this.
I had no idea that this program even
Yeah, I didn't either.
existed until Lisa from WACOG actually brought it to me and said, this is working really well in other counties and other communities. What do you think?
If we voted on this tonight, when would this start? Like, when would this go in effect?
It would be a minute,
Weekly?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, it's
Because
like a
it's
month
gonna-
or so to just.
Yeah, there's paperwork that needs to be done. We need to work with the clients to make sure that they're able to
Well
get the
aware.
meals.
Okay.
Worst thing would be
July
if there
1
was a
until
gap.
the contract end?
No, we would try to do that a little more, but
Maybe May,
Good mailing addresses.
yeah.
April-ish.
I would hate to see a
May-
gap between the two services. We don't
There
make sure
will-
that
there-
doesn't happen.
I can guarantee you there will not be a gap between, I mean, WACOG is very, their focus is on our seniors.
I was just asking, so like, we could definitely let them know. It's just not like, hey, no more mills.
Yeah, no, there's paperwork that needs to be done, there's contacts that need to be happen, so
Well, they'd have to
This-
put together their order, right?
the caseworker will go out and visit each one of these clients prior to this ever happening.
So the caseworker will visit all 100 clients?
Before this ever happens, because they'll have to have signatures, they'll have to have mailing stuff.
For those that don't have internet, unless they get a visit from T-Mobile and Starlink, is there like a mail-in paper that they
There
can
is
get
a
as well?
mail-in
Okay,
menu that you can do as well.
okay.
I would hope that when the caseworker goes out or the worker goes out, because there's more than one here in town, and I'm sure that to get this program started, they're gonna bring some up from
Well,
other
and then
areas.
you have side, I'm thinking of side things like the public fiduciary's office. They may have 15 or 20 clients that they deal with. They're gonna make sure they're squared away. Adult Protective Services would have certain clients that they deal with, you know, that they're gonna make sure they're squared away. So I don't think it'll all fall on WACOG, although they would probably be the clearinghouse for all the paperwork and information.
Correct.
But there may be some help in that sense.
That's all kind of WACOG's baby. I don't know all the ins and outs of how all that works.
And the community health worker program will assist also.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
there's gonna be some coverage.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I was really impressed when I heard about it. I was like, whew, you know, because we're in a bind, and this is a way to keep services, instead of just going, you know what, we're the town, we're gonna deal with the town, and you guys take care of everything else. This is a way to stay involved in the process and make sure it works. And if it doesn't work in 6 months,
Our little senior center is really important to WACOG, and they made that perfectly clear, how important our little center is to the programs in this area. Our little program does a lot that even some of the bigger towns and cities don't do.
all right. Any other discussion? Or I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve an amendment to the WACOG 2025 initial contract for nutrition services for a trial period of 6 months from the time it commences, not from today, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right, any other comments, discussion?
Feel like it's the easy way out. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know.
Does that scare you that it's the easy way? It
A
sounds
little
too easy.
bit, because typically those aren't the most well-received,
Yeah, that's why I like the 6-month idea too, you know? Even a year would probably scare me, but, and I don't think 90 days would be enough, but I like the timing too because of what we talked about, how it's in the middle of, it's gonna be right in the middle of the new budget year, you know, when we still have a few months left on it, so. It gives every other entity in the county time to consider what they might want to contribute, what part they might want to play, so. All right, anything else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Thank you.
Item 4, discussion action to approve, deny, to ratify Resolution 03-2025 for the application to the ADOT 5310 grant program for fleet maintenance services. Nora?
So this was a grant that kind of came upon us really quickly. The timing was, John worked his little heart out over here. This pays for, it's a 50 grant, but it pays for maintenance on our vehicles that we've gotten from WACOG for our senior center. It's already maintenance that we do anyway. So they're gonna help fund part of that maintenance on those vehicles that they applied, that we've applied for and we received from ADOT. The funds for this fiscal year is $6,173 is the, with of course the matching grant, matching funds, which we already pay that and then some for maintenance on those vehicles.
Okay. Questions? Sounds like one of those no-brainer things. It cuts our costs in half. So. And this is just to submit the grant application, or this is to,
No, this is to receive the grant.
oh, okay. Good.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 03-2025 for the ADOT 5310 grant program. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, discussion action to approve, deny contract with Good Creations for grant writing services. Council may vote to discuss this matter in executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3. Christina's on the line. What would be our reasoning to go in executive, just because it's a contract?
Sure, there's a contract that when we had some back and forth, certain provisions were struck that if you wanted to discuss sort of the town's risk for those red lines that he provided, that's essentially why we go into e-session.
I don't remember seeing anything redlined that was.
The insurance, yeah.
About insurance.
Page
Yeah, in that sense, I would like to get legal advice on this,
1, 2, 3.
so maybe we should. What do you guys think?
Make a motion that we go into executive session for the legal aspects. I forgot.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session to discuss the Good Creations contract services. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. There's a chance for a lot of you to just sneak right out, and this is our last item anyways.
Daniel, thank you for joining us. We're going to stop via Zoom now.
Oh, I don't like that white chocolate.
Amy, I'll call back on.
Thank you, Christina.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.